Lorenzo Ahmed González Cacho, November 29, 2001, March 9, 2010 was an 8-year-old Puerto Rican boy that was murdered in his home in Dorado, Puerto Rico on March 9, 2010. At the time of his death, his mother, Ana Cacho, and two sisters were at the house. The case has gained notoriety in the island for the discrepancies and irregularities surrounding the evidence and testimonies about it, which initially led to the boy's mother along with 3 males to be labeled potential suspects by the island's Secretary of Justice at the time, Guillermo Somoza. However, on March 9, 2015, on the 5th anniversary of the murder, the Puerto Rico Justice Department announced that the mother along with the 3 men were no longer suspects. The Department of Justice confirmed on March 7, 2016 that charges be filed for the crime of first-degree murder against Luis Gustavo Rivera Saillo, better known as El Manco, for the child's death. On April 28, 2016 charges against Rivera Saillo were dropped due to total lack of evidence, DNA, fingerprints, etc., that could prove the presence of Rivera Saillo in Cacho's residence. On June 7, 2016, in a trial on appeal, the charges against Rivera Saillo were dropped again due to total lack of evidence, DNA, fingerprints, etc., that could prove the presence of Rivera Saillo in Cacho's residence. Background: Lorenzo González Cacho was born on November 29, 2001. He was the middle child of Ahmed Ali González and Ana Cacho out of 3. The couple also had 2 daughters. From an early age, González showed interest in sports, and was active in a soccer team. He was studying at Dorado Academy in his hometown. At the time of Lorenzo's death, his parents were in the process of divorcing. Also, at that time, his sisters were approximately 13 and 5 years old. Death on March 9, 2010, Ana Cacho took Lorenzo to the Treatment and Diagnostic Center in Dorado, Puerto Rico. Cacho arrived between 5:00 and 5:30 a.m. with Lorenzo covered in blood. The child was pronounced dead at the clinic. Upon questioning, Cacho claimed that her son had fallen from his bed at their home in Dorado del March. However, this version was discarded by the autopsy, which revealed severe injuries to the face and head, which included 3 stabbing wounds to the face. Suspects: although no charges have been filed, the Puerto Rico Department of Justice had identified 4 people considered suspects in the death of Lorenzo. However, on March 9, 2015, on the 5th anniversary of the murder, the Puerto Rico Department of Justice announced that all 4 were no longer suspects. Ana Cacho, Lorenzo's mother. She was identified as a suspect by the Department of Justice on March 19, 2010. Her 2 daughters were also removed from her home on March 30, 2010, and they haven't had contact since. Through the process, Cacho has insisted that she is innocent. On March 9, 2015, on the 5th anniversary of the murder, the Puerto Rico Department of Justice announced that she was no longer a suspect. Jesus Genaro Camacho, Cacho's boyfriend at the moment of the murder. He was identified as a suspect on October 26, 2011. He denies being in the house when the incident occurred. He has also maintained that he is innocent. On March 9, 2015, on the 5th anniversary of the murder, the Puerto Rico Department of Justice announced that he was no longer a suspect. Arnaldo Naldi Colon, a friend of Cacho. It has been rumored he was at the house the night of the murder. On March 9, 2015, on the 5th anniversary of the murder, the Puerto Rico Department of Justice announced that he was no longer a suspect. William Marrero, federal agent working for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. He was identified as a suspect in August 2012 by the authorities. Allegedly, he was also present in Cacho's house the night of the murder. On March 9, 2015, on the 5th anniversary of the murder, The Puerto Rico Department of Justice announced that he was no longer a suspect. Luis Gustavo Rivera Saillo, better known as El Manco, a homeless man missing his left forearm, who grew up in the same neighborhood and was incorrectly released from jail the night of the murder, was also previously identified as a suspect. Allegedly, Rivera Saillo confessed to the crime, but the authorities discarded his involvement due to lack of evidence confirming his admission. He was previously diagnosed with a mental disorder. On March 8, 2016, the judge Jessica Morales determined probable cause for arrest for murder against Luis Gustavo Rivera Saillo aka El Manco for Lorenzo González Cacho's death. Charges of negligence, justice obstruction and suspicion of murder for the previously accused had been retired due to a total lack of forensic evidence to even confirm the presence of Rivera Saillo at the crime scene. Controversy. The case gained widespread notoriety throughout the island when the gossip news show Super Exclusivo started following it closely. While following the case, a number of irregularities were alleged. Among these is the crime scene, which was not secured and was cleaned after it had already been seen by investigators, but before forensics could thoroughly analyze it. Ana Cacho's father met with the governor at the time, Luis Fortuno, and handed him a mysterious envelope. The Secretary of Justice at the time, Antonio Sagurdia, resigned to his post and became Ana Cacho's lawyer, and expressed that she was a victim of the media, although this was seen as unethical by many. Of the other three previous suspects, only Gennaro Camacho has given a public interview. El Manco, who was accused of the murder in March 2016, was shown to have been diagnosed with mental problems. He had confessed at the beginning of the investigation and several other times, sometimes retracting his confessions. His confessions weren't considered valid at first, because according to authorities they didn't add up and the claimed murder weapon was never found. Some believe him to have confessed because he prefers jail to being homeless. On April 28, 2016, another judge explained the confession was full of errors and that there is no evidence, DNA, fingerprints, etc., that could prove the presence of El Manco in Cacho's residence. See also Death of Liliana Barbarita Cepeda. References